going to start making videos about the Dragon Federation. What is the Dragon Federation? Dragon Federation is a company that is, as it was pitched to me in September, it is the most ambitious animal AI project of its time. The idea is that you will get a dragon companion, and you will have the experience of being a dragon trainer, a dragon scientist, dragon behavioralist. And so at this time, you cannot purchase eggs. They had a Kickstarter that was years ago. They've done Patreon, where if you were a Patreon member for a certain amount of time, you got an egg of a certain rarity. And then they had giveaways where there were some giveaways, and then in September there was a sort of like a soft launch, I guess one could say. The experience is not out yet, but they were taking orders in September, and those who ordered in September were able to pick what species they wanted, but not their rarity. So there's a lot of different things about it. It hasn't fully released yet, but the goal is that it releases sometime this year in 2023. And I wanted to create a web series, I guess you could say, or start a podcast, or however you want to word it, about my experience with Dragon Federation. So today's video, I'm not going to go much into anything other than the FAQ for those who have already been part of Dragon Federation. If you go on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, you'll see that it hasn't been as active maybe as it could have been. At least that's my opinion. I know the team is hard at work. This is a passion project for the team, and they do this outside of their day jobs. So they still got to pay bills, so they still work day jobs, so this isn't like a dedicated project in that they spend 8 hours a day working on this. In most instances, as I understand it, the team's moving towards that, but it hasn't fully happened. So I wanted to do, I just wanted to go over the FAQ. I put together not every single question that was asked in Discord. That's the most active place. There's a weekly lore and story where the members of the development team will hop in and ask the community to take part. So yeah, I thought we get almost weekly the same questions, and every time they post on Facebook they get this same question. So I thought I'm going to go through facts and questions, and I'm going to try and put together sort of a neat version and cut out some of the bits that are not necessarily, are more suggestions from other people, because facts and questions can have anybody answer. So let's dive in. Question number 1, the most commonly asked question. I want an egg because I funded on Kickstarter or I funded on Patreon. Will we still get our eggs? So those that purchased an egg will be guaranteed that rarity with extra perks for backing early. All giveaways will be honored, and all pre-orders are valid. The only time this changes is if you've requested a refund. If you asked for a refund, you're not getting something you asked to be refunded. Those that funded via Patreon for $500 or more will be able to pick their species. The team will be outlining this at a later date, and there will be an email blast about it. So, for those that are worried about that, please wait. But the main point is, yes, you're getting your eggs. However you paid for it, as far as Samson, as I understand, has put it, at least from what I've listened to him, is that anybody who ordered, who won an egg, who funded via Kickstarter, who funded through Patreon, are all considered pre-orders. So, pretty much anybody before official launch, right? Or beta testing, I guess, is another way to word that. Stabling fees. How much is stabling? Stabling fees are projected at $10 a month, as training the AI requires significant amount of data storage and bandwidth. Remember, stabling your dragon also takes care of all your food and the veterinary costs. So the dragons can get permadeath. You can't get them back, anything like that. So there's a lot of concerns. So when you're offline, if you can't log in to feed it for some reason or something, having it stabled is safe. Next question. Sorry, I'm saying a bunch of ums. Can you tell how a dragon can die? Hate to pay $500. That was the, just as an aside here, not part of the FAQ, but the $500 was the sale price at FanX. When I was looking at it, it says full price is $1,500. Now that can change prior to launch. That's a lot of money for something to just have permadeath on it. So I really understand this question, which is, can you tell how a dragon can die? Hate to pay $500 for a dragon to see it die and have no dragon anymore. The answer to that was, I don't believe there has yet been specifics indicated or announced, but it has been assured that you will have to work at it to make your dragon die. Your dragon dying is not an easy thing to have happen. They can die, there is that option, but it is almost something you have to work towards. You're not going to make a mistake or two and lose your dragon over it. So then someone said, to add to the question above, when and if the dragon dies, is that it? Or do you start with a new one? The answer was, that would be the end for that dragon. Your player does not reset in terms of gear or crafted items, but just as if your pet passed away, your dragon cannot come back. You would have to have a new one. Now that being said, I also want to put everyone's minds at ease. It will not be easy to kill your dragon, and you will be warned ahead of time about bringing your dragon to a dangerous area it is not ready for. Also, the dragons are NFT, so the players own them. If you lose your dragon and someone else has an extra, you can buy, sell, and trade that dragon. So they can very well gift you a new baby dragon if you do not buy one. Next question. I'm an early backer and I don't feel like we're getting anything special for early backing. Which was answered. All pre-orders, and again to specify, pre-orders is for any type of acquisition for egg before beta launch. At this time, we'll be receiving at least a half of year's stabling fees, as well as the NFT mint included. In addition, as the early tester phase moves into more solid footing, early access beta will be available to all backers prior to the mainstream release. Question, it's been years. Will egg winners still get an egg? Yes, that was answered in number 1. 2, yes, all giveaways will be honored. Question, can more than one person bond or raise the dragon? Will it be too confusing if 2 people talk to it? Answer is, great question. That is, what has been disclosed so far is primarily about the mountain skull. You can have multiple people talk to and interact with the dragon. However, each dragon will have its own random personality, and just like a dog, sorry, I misspoke there, just like a dog could take to a person easier than another. If your dragon enjoys the tone of a family member more than your own, it is possible that it is harder for you to bond with your dragon if it is distracted by another voice it hears. Question, there was talks of a Welsh dragon. Is it still happening? Answer, there are going to be way more than the 5 species currently listed. They're just going to be slowly introduced. These 5 are just the starters, so yes, a Welsh dragon should still be on the docket. This next question, I tried to put together the one that one of the development team picked. There is quite a few comments about what headsets. So the question is, what VR system should I get for this experience? The answer is, the goal is to be as system agnostic as possible. So what you have, the developer mentioned hold off on buying. If you're going to buy one, go ahead and hold off until a later time. There's a lot of people who didn't want to do that, so they wanted some suggestions. And those suggestions, there was a bunch of them from the community. And so essentially, like, the goal is that what you have will work, but with any type of system, the newer, fancier systems might look or feel better. So the goal is the program, the experience will work system agnostic at this time. If you want to wait to purchase a headset until much later, closer to full launch, then you can get a better idea of like what system handles it better, has like better frame rate or better graphics. The goal is it will look good on everything, but again, different systems handle things differently. So I just picked the one instead of the multitude. There was a lot of recommendations for Quest 2 because of price point. It's your choice. You're always welcome to go into Discord, read through all of FAQ, which I do recommend. This was just trying to shorten it and make it quick. Alright, next question. Will there be races we can choose from for our character? And the answer is, you won't have races to choose from. As far as we know, you will be entering an avatar in the Dragon Realm. The hooded figure picture on our website gives an idea as to the look of the base avatar, though you will be able to use colors, weapons, and armor pieces to customize your avatar. Question. Will the dragons have different stats and such, like speed, strength, health, and things? Answer is, different species will have different stats. For instance, the Altum is built for speed and water traversing. There's a typo. I just copied and pasted, guys. Sorry, let me fix this. Alrighty. For speed and water traversing, as well as flight. It's likely to have better speed than attack, whereas the Mountain Skull will have better defense since it is a rock-smashing dragon that eats stone and creates molten stone inside its body. Next question. I purchased my egg back on Kickstarter. I know this has probably been asked a million times, but does anyone have any insight as to when we get to pick our dragons? And since I paid for the wildflower, is that a differentiator between any other eggs, being that there are new dragon types? Thank you, I appreciate everything you are doing for this amazing project. So I want to make a quick pause before I read the answer. So on Kickstarter, Patreon, and the winnings, at the time there wasn't multiple dragon species picked, so it was based off of like a rarity. What that rarity means, I think, as far as I understand it, and again, I'm not part of the development team, I'm just a consumer, is that you get things like a special color. Your dragon will be like a rare color, or have like a unique pattern to it that maybe the other dragons don't have. And this is defined by the colored eggs. And then in September of 2022, which is when I learned about this project, and I purchased two eggs myself, one for myself and one for my son, that at that time there had been 5 species discovered, as the team puts it, and you could pick from one of the 5, but you couldn't pick a rarity. So there's a lot of confusion between those who came in at September and those who came in at the beginning, because those who came in at September knew nothing about the rarities, and a lot of individuals who knew about the rarities, have been with the project for a long time, are a little bit frustrated because they're going to be getting a Mountain Skull egg, whereas there's now 4 other dragons that they could choose from. And I think the original goal is the Mountain Skull is being released earlier. It'll be the first dragon released, and then the other dragons will come on at a much later date. And so I don't quite understand what the whole decision by the team made was. I personally bought a dragon that will be released at a later date, which means I have to wait longer at this time unless I choose to get a Mountain Skull to interact with the dragon. So there's a lot of questions about, can they change to a different species, or what does this rarity mean, things like that. So as Samson has said before, if you got the choice to pick a dragon, he will be sending out a email blast to those people. So closer to the launch, as they keep calling it, the team keeps calling it, there will be email blasts that will be things like confirming what dragon you want, or if you get to pick a rarity, picking your rarity. Now, with that said, what you ordered is what you're already guaranteed. So you might choose, if that choice comes to you, you might choose to make a different choice. Currently you're promised what you paid for, whether that's a rarity or, like in my case in September, I got a different species. So, I'm going to ask the question again. I purchased my egg back on Kickstarter. Since I paid for the wildflower, is that a differentiator between any other eggs, being that there are new dragon types? Great question is the answer. We confirmed last night that there will be an email blast sent out to all of those who have purchased their eggs through the first wave of sales, or who have backed on Kickstarter way back from the start. The email will give you the chance to confirm if you want the mountain skull or if you want to wait for a new species dragon egg to come in. I suspect that this process will be a lot smoother since we will have someone that can create the correct product the way we want it. So keep your eyes out for that email. You'll be able to access the Dragon Realm via VR before you get your egg, though, to get supplies ready for when your egg comes. The next question, not sure if it has been answered anywhere actually, but when it comes to accessing the Dragon Realm, how will it work? Will it be its own separate app platform installed into the headset, or something you install onto your system and launch from there and then link to your VR system? And then the answer is, you will go through the AR on your phone to be able to manage your dragon stats and feeding them and caring for the egg and watching the embryo grow in the beginning. Then, for VR, you will use an app through your computer that you'll sync up and use a portal to go into the Dragon Realm. There, you'll be able to bond and work more in depth with your dragon, and that is where the experience is mostly held. Will there be AR utility outside of the egg stage? I want to be able to take care of my dragon throughout the day, but I'm not home for long periods of time. The answer is yes. The goal is that the AR, you can do some simple things and some maybe resource gathering, and be able to interact with your dragon throughout the day through your phone. Whereas the VR will be the main attraction. The team has also stated that they're looking into like computer windowed options instead of VR for some individuals who maybe don't have access to VR or who have difficulties with VR. I know some people get very, very motion sick, which is completely, not an enjoyable experience, and so those individuals might be more interested in just being on their computer versus through the VR realm. Next question. Since it seems like it will take some time for them to actually hatch, can dragons die while they are still in their egg, or are they at least safe? And the answer is that they are safe in their egg. And so that's it for the facts and questions that's been posted through Discord. The main thing is, this first question gets asked, and it's a fair question. I just feel bad that people keep asking it over and over and over again. So it's on Facts and Questions on Discord. It's been posted a few times on the Facebook page. It is out there. You do have to look for it. You have to read it. So maybe this way you can just hear it. But if you have won an egg, funded on Kickstarter, funded through Patreon, or purchased through the FanX weekend, will you still get your egg? And yes, the answer is you are guaranteed that rarity and that species that you picked or ordered for. Not everyone got to pick a species, not everyone got to pick a rarity. If that will change, there will be an email blast sent out. We have not been given a date for when the email blast will be sent out. We have not even been given an official date for when people will start receiving their eggs. But when the team knows more, the first place it'll probably be is on Discord, because again, there are those weekly meetings. I try to make notes if I'm able to attend the weekly meeting, and then I post it in Lore and Story. Those talks are not posted anywhere else. They're not on Patreon, they're not on Facebook, on Instagram, or even on the company's website. You do have to go looking for them. So if you want to be the most up-to-date, I recommend joining Discord, checking it at least once a week. There are weekly discussions that the team wants to hear from the community about what they want to see in the game. This week's topic was how to reorganize Patreon. I've tried to post a couple of different iterations, and I've tried to encourage people to discuss it, but I think people are much more interested in getting their dragons, so good luck, and excited to get to meet